Hey, so quick before we actually get to the video, who did this? Cause it certainly wasn't me. Was it you? It was you, wasn't it? I knew it was you. God, ugh. Thank you. Anyways, back to the video. Back to the video. I love doing whatever I can to just support and just enlighten myself when it comes to indie shows on YouTube. I never care what they're about as long as they just entertain my silly dumb brain, and that goes for a lot of things. Plus, I enjoy the thought of giving attention to works that desperately really do need and deserve it. Now, The Amazing Digital Circus is definitely one of these shows I am in love with so much, and although it doesn't really need any more attention due to how popular it is, I still feel like I need to rant about it for a minute because, like, oh my gosh, how is this just free to watch on YouTube? There's just so many things I want to talk about when it comes to this show, and there's two things in particular I really want to yap about today, and that's the story and how the characters play a part in it. I'll summarize some events and even talk about the characters and their roles in the story, and I'll also talk about what I like and what I dislike and what I just think about the characters, because I want to talk about these characters. I think they're cool. I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so what is this show even about? Well, let me give you a quick summary of our events we've seen so far, from episode 1 to the most recent episode, episode 3. The first episode opens up with the introduction to the quote-unquote amazing digital circus, which, according to the characters, is some sort of VR experience. The only problem is, when you enter this experience, your consciousness is pulled from your reality, and you're sort of just trapped inside the video game along with all your memories disappearing. So, yay, that's awesome. There are many different wacky characters who have found themselves stuck in this experience, and most of them basically accept the fact that this is their life now, which they basically have to. You see, we learned in the first episode that if one isn't content with their situation and possibly obsesses over finding an exit, there is a big chance that character will become abstracted, a glitchy mess of janky textures and eyes. Pomni, the main character and the newest member of the circus, worries in the first couple episodes if she'll ever find an exit, and in turn, dreads the concept of becoming an abstraction. So, in order to not go crazy and absolutely lose her sanity, she, along with everyone else, goes on these adventures every day to help distract them from, well, everything, and, give them some sort of purpose. Through these sad adventures, she learns a lot about life in this new world, and slowly creates close bonds with the others, finding reason and way to prevent abstraction, and, in turn, feeling a lot more content with her situation. Now, that's a huge oversimplification I just said of the whole story. For starters, I barely even mentioned characters, mostly because I want to talk more about them each later, but also there's just a lot more of an identity to the show than silly clown girl gets stuck in another world and has to learn the power of friendship. No, each episode is jam-packed with amazing writing and visuals, hilarious humor, and even some heavy themes I wasn't expecting at all. Ones that are handled surprisingly well, such as love, purpose, even loss. And it can also get pretty scary at times too. I mean, you take one quick look at this stuff and instantly assume it's some stupid kid's show, yet it's not scared to be mature. There's a lot of psychological horror along with some very eerie sections that admittedly had me spooked. Like in the first episode when Pomni got stuck in the back rooms and started going absolutely bonkers, and even in the most recent episode when her and King are stuck in the haunted house and have to fight this thing. Plus, another rare example is Caine. Yep. Just Caine. I swear, you never know what this guy's going to do. He is absolutely terrifying. But anyways, this show has a lot going for it right now, and it's still going on. Somehow only having 3 episodes, its story and the mysteries that come with it have managed to hook me more than any other show. It is so much more than that silly clown girl show, like I said before. It has all these aspects I mentioned previously, the amazing jokes, the amazing writing, the genuinely fascinating lessons and themes, and it balances it all out with so much professionalism, which I love and will admit is something that a lot of shows do struggle with sometimes. Look, I know it sounds like I'm absolutely glazing the heck out of this show for only having 3 episodes, but dude, I'm just trying to say what's on my mind. That just so happens to be story good. Give God star. I really could go deeper into why I like this show so much, but I kind of feel like a lot of that revolves around the characters themselves, their roles, and how they interact with one another. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about every one of them, because I feel like it. Okay, so Pomni. Like I said previously, she's the main character that we follow throughout the show. Sure, we see others have their own adventures and interactions every once in a while, but Pomni is who a lot of the attention is given to. In the first episode, it opens with us seeing her get brought to this new world and for the first time experiencing the digital circus alongside the viewer. The thing about Pomni is, I think she's an amazing main character for a multitude of reasons. For starters, she's surprisingly very silly and relatable. The reason I brought up the fact that she experiences the circus alongside the viewer is because she actually feels like a real person who would react in a real way. If you randomly appeared in a wacky world and you were told you could never escape, you'd probably be a bit anxious too. Not only is it a great contrast to all the other members who are like over it already, but also it's just funny in general. I mean, yeah, it is realistic and I would definitely act that way, but like, it's just silly seeing her panic about something so nonchalant for the other members. Another thing I really like about her character is her goofy and charming behavior when she's scared by something or just visibly upset. These moments are so lovable and I can't just not relate or understand her frustrations. And another thing that I just really appreciate is that she doesn't feel like some kind of cookie cutout of a main character who's realistic and relatable. It's not just, hey guys, I'm a clown, aren't I so silly, you should love me because I'm just like you. No, she feels so real and expressive, and she clearly has her own opinions and worldviews. She may be relatable, but she has her own aspects and characterizations that make her that more charming, that more real. Real in the sense that she doesn't feel artificially made just to satisfy audiences. She feels genuine, and I love that. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but like, why is the main character in most of the shows I watch just like the least interesting character out of all the cast? Don't get me wrong, I most of the time love the main characters of the shows I watch, and I support them and enjoy following them through their journey, hoping they succeed of course. But there's always those random side characters who barely get any screen time, but they're just so much more relatable and just so much more fun to watch. Call me weird if you want, but that's just always how I've seen things. Fortunately though, the Amazing Digital Circus really perfects Pomni in such a way that, no joke, makes her one of my favorite characters, which is really good. Another thing I actually really like about her is that she's not like a terrible person. A lot of the time, characters in shows are just bad people for no reason, and that's how they learn their lesson in the episodes, doing a bad thing and then learning that it's wrong. But Pomni isn't like this. Sure, she's rude and gets annoyed sometimes, but she learns her lessons in a much more realistic and honestly much more satisfying way. Like, for example, Ragatha is the only one throughout the episodes who actively tries to support Pomni and make her stay at the circus at least a little enjoyable. But every time she does so, Pomni tries to just push her away. That isn't until after having that talk with Kinger in episode 3, the most recent episode, when she realized how much she really does for her, and apologizes to Ragatha for not appreciating it as much as she could. This is just so sweet and heartfelt, and it's also some character growth that is just not something that makes me hate Pomni as a character, but rather makes me like her more. In general, she's just so nice, sweet, and caring, and just has such wonderful relationships with the members of the circus she's gotten close to. And it seems like in each episode, we're going to get her close to another character so they can create bonds and open up their perspectives. And that just seems amazing, and I can't wait for that. Just the involvement of Pomni in the circus really makes the whole group feel like a family, and I appreciate that so much. Ragatha, other than Jax, is one of the characters we see and know a lot more about. And by that I mean we don't know a lot about her, but we can assume a lot about her character just based on the way she walks and talks and behaves, you know? She's the one who goes out her way to make sure Pomni and the others aren't having a rough time at the circus, and actively wants to help in any way she can. In fact, I like to believe, based on all those things, that she could possibly represent some kind of motherly figure in the friend group in a way. She's typically the voice of reason and feels this need to do whatever she deems right. But she's got a few of her own anxieties though. She too, just like Pomni, fears and worries about her significance and if she'll abstract. But unlike Pomni, she's accepted that the adventures Caine provides are really fun distractions from it all to keep her healthy and stimulated. Which is like the most mom thing to say, let's be real. I like Ragatha a lot, and she's definitely got a lot of potential for herself when it comes to storytelling. She's nice to all the cast members, and even during the rough times she holds up her charm. Though, originally I always saw her as a character who, although always nice and lovable, would one day snap and possibly abstract somehow, mainly because no one ever really matches her positive, cheery charm. Though, luckily, I don't think this is the case anymore due to how the recent episode and Pomni's apology gave her. I'm still very excited to see how her character is used in the future, but luckily I don't think she's going to be a villain too much. Okay, so Jax. Where do we even start with Jax? Okay, maybe I could start by saying I actually do like his character. He's a selfish and annoying rabbit who constantly verbally and just straight up physically abuses others just because he thinks it's funny, and does so while somehow breaking the literal fourth wall because I guess he can just do that. He literally lives to be the chaos in the circus, and I wouldn't want him any other way, so yeah, I actually do like this character. But what else do we know about Jax, and what can we assume about his character for the future? Well, like I said earlier, it seems like the show is going to possibly have an episode for each member of the circus, giving each their time to shine and reveal a bit about themselves, and I already know that Jax is going to get one. Other than Ragatha and Pomni, Jax is once again a character we've seen a lot of, and in that time we can see that even though he is an annoying guy who just loves causing chaos, being mean and selfish, he may have a soft, sad part of him that he's just hiding away. He gets jealous and visibly upset when things don't go his way, and really does come across as some kind of attention seeker. Alongside that, we do see him a couple times actually get a bit sad, only to instantly mask it all with anger or humor. Something is clearly not right with this man, and he clearly wants help, but refuses to show it all. This could possibly be a defense mechanism of some kind to help him cope and not abstract, but I believe all it's really doing is pushing him away from the other members farther and farther, which we can all agree will probably just make things worse. Though I could be wrong, Jax is a very unpredictable character, and I won't be surprised if nothing comes of it. Heck, maybe he's just clinically insane. That'll explain the fourth wall breaks. Bro's just talking to nobody. Speaking of insane people, Kinger's another character in the main cast that has a few issues to say the least. Now, he used to be someone we didn't know much about at all, but luckily with the release of the newest episode that had recently come out, we got a lot of time to see him really in action and get a great example of what this guy's really like. You see, on the surface, Kinger is someone who many of the other characters in the circus believe is absolutely crazy. The reason for thinking so is because he's just so random and tends to just sporadically begin screaming or ranting about unrelated things. In general, he's just not all there, and it's gotten so bad to the point that many believe that he's going to be next to abstract. But as Pomni stuck by his side, afraid and alone in the dark in the newest episode, even she could notice that he had begun acting much more differently. Somehow he was calm, collected, and even turned out to be a voice of reason and reassurance, which was basically the polar opposite of what he was normally like. He handled situations seriously while even protecting Pomni, putting her behind his back, and when she was at her lowest, he spoke with her with soft, innocent words of care, almost in a fatherly way. The reasoning for all this would quickly be given to us after Pomni questions it all, and we would get the pleasure of learning about his wife who he had in the circus, who had unfortunately abstracted a long time ago. It happened in the dark pillow fort that they stayed in, and that was the moment that his mind couldn't think straight anymore and his memories began to blur. But in the darkness, he can remember it all, and it seems the darkness can also help him stay sane, even if for a little while. This was honestly so tragic to watch play out, and it gave a character I didn't care much for at the time some much needed attention, which I love. We even also got some attention to Kinger where he mentions the fact that he used to be in computer science for 7 years, so maybe the darkness can remind him of like life before the digital circus, but honestly, I don't really care much about that right now. I'm still crying over his dead wife. Gosh, I'm just so weak when it comes to this tragic backstory stuff. I really am. Okay, now here's the thing. We don't really know a lot about Gangle. And I know I've said that before for a lot of the characters, or I guess for, I say that for some characters. We don't know a lot about them. I mean, it's only been 3 episodes, so of course not. But for Gangle, we really don't know a lot about them. I mean, okay, so they're like this really cute and shy, like, string person who has had plenty of screen time, surprisingly, and even has their own running joke that their comedy mask keeps getting broken by Jax. in like each episode. But other than those and whatever the figurine thing is, we don't know much about their character, and that's honestly upsetting. Like, look at them. They're so cute. They're so cute. They deserve some explanations. Luckily though, I'm pretty sure that they're going to be the main like character who goes with Pomni in the next episode, because I'm pretty sure we were told that. Yeah, I don't have like a thing to prove that, but I'm just, well, even if not, I'm hoping because I really want to see what their deal is, like what's with their comedy mask and like comedy and like tragedy mask, what's with the whole bit of it getting crushed, what's the figurine thing. I'm sure we're gonna find out more about that. Maybe the episode could be about them finally getting over Jack's cruelty towards them, because out of all the characters, Jack typically targets Gangle. So hopefully we get something very important, because I would love to know what their deal is, because they're like the character we know the least amount about, like absolutely nothing. So yeah. Okay, now Zooble is another interesting case, because we haven't actually seen much about them yet either. Okay, so like they're this bundled up mess of random shapes and parts who's pretty nonchalant and sarcastic at times, but we don't get to see it a ton because they're one of the characters who we've seen the least from. I mean, don't get me wrong, I feel like they got more going for them than characters like Gangle so far, but it's kinda weird how for 2 of the 3 episodes we've gotten so far, they just are absent or not playing a major role at all. Luckily though, once again the newest episode has come in clutch and actually helped develop the character a lot more, and it does so by literally putting them in therapy, so yippee! Now, Caine, the AI who runs Circus and the one who sends everyone on their adventures, sits Zooble down and asks them why they never go on them themselves. But Zooble explains to Caine that they just hate themselves and their body. They desperately want one they can feel comfortable in, and have been trying to switch out parts and pieces of themselves to hopefully find ones that work, because that's something they can do. But it's never felt right. It's really sad to hear, and it's also a great metaphor that a lot of people can probably relate to a lot, having this kind of dysmorphia for your body. That being said, I hope they get an episode in the future of Pomni so they can discuss this further, because to be honest, Caine doesn't really help the situation, if anything makes things worse, and the problem isn't really resolved at all, it's just stated. I want them to be better, I want them to feel better, I want them to feel comfortable in their own, well, I was gonna say skin, but I mean, in their own blocks, or just something. It's super sad to hear this, because it's like a real thing that people go through. I want to see more of them. I hope we see more of them. Also, speaking of Caine is the AI and the ringmaster that runs the entirety of the circus. He is the one who pulls all the strings on everything that goes down in the circus, and basically is the god of this world. He's loud, he's wacky, he's an absolute force of chaos, and I love him. I am so very fascinated by this creature. Okay, so Caine is a very interesting character who I love oh so much. He's also my favorite of them all, and that is because of his wacky and weird nature. Not only does he have some of the best humor in the show, in my opinion, but just the way he's animated is just, oh my gosh, it's so awesome to me. I don't know if I mentioned it yet because this script is pretty long, but the animation in the show is absolutely stunning, and that's especially the case when it comes to, you know, character and their like expressions and movements. Case in point, look at bro go! I am such a stupid sucker when it comes to like cool animation and just fun tricks people use when it comes to like bringing characters to life, and Caine is a great example of it because like he does not have any rules that he abides by. This man is a pair of pearly whites who has the power of gods. Do you really think he cares if his arms are bending the wrong way? I just love this amazing character design and like he is so cool. I'm sorry, I'm gushing too much. He is so amazing. I'm literally glazing this guy so much. Oh my gosh. What I'm trying to say is the way he's animated, the way his character is, he is so not even cool, he's fun. He's just fun. He's terrifying. Sometimes he's terrifying, but he's also just so fascinating. I love Caine. Thank you guys for creating Caine. But anyways, sorry about that. Sorry. Amazing character design and animation aside, Caine is also one of the characters I am most intrigued about when it comes to lore, because, like, just lore and story-wise, you know? Because, like, what is he really? Like, is he an AI, or is he also a human? Why is his memory so bad when it comes to NPCs and Zooble's problems? Why is he, like, torturing his guests? What is really going on? In episode 3, during the section where Caine gives Zooble a therapy session, they tell him that no one likes his adventures that he makes, and that started to make him freak out just a tiny bit. He questions his entire purpose, and everything begins glitching out for a moment, so that just opened up a lot more questions, like, what happens when Caine stops doing his job? Like, does everyone die? Is that what happens? Is he an actual AI, or is he just straight up is he the admin of the game? Is he the game? Is he like the only thing holding up the game in like the structure? I really hope we find out sometime soon, but realistically that sounds like something we'll find out at the end of the show, which is unfortunate but reasonable.
Ow! You parasite!
Yep, we're talking about Bubble. I bet you weren't expecting me to talk about this guy. Probably because they're like the most forgettable character in the show, even with their humor. And I know that's the case. You can't fight me on that because I know that's true because I almost forgot to add them to the scripts. So yeah, so you can't argue me on that. And also, before you say that I forgot the sun and the moon from this video about the characters and stuff, don't type that because I did not forget about them. I just don't want to talk about them. Same reason I don't want to talk about the glowing queen. Like, who cares about the glowing queen? Who cares about the sun and the moon? Come on. Stupid idea. That was a stupid idea. But anyways, who is Bubble? Or more appropriately, what is Bubble? I mean, if you think about it, they're the second character we ever see in the entire show, right after Caine. But it's not like they've done much to deserve that, other than, you know, crack a couple jokes every once in a while. I mean, let's really think about it. What really is Bubble? We can assume they're not a person because they don't go on the adventures like everyone else does, but I don't think there's some kind of AI like Caine either because they can't control the circus like he does. Plus, they're calmly just following Caine around, doing as he says, like an assistant of some kind. Initially, I had this crazy idea that Bubble could be this rogue NPC who Caine hasn't figured out isn't human yet, a gummy goo type situation, but he doesn't take them on those adventures thinking they're human, so he obviously knows they're different. But if so, what are they? I mean, I guess they could still be an NPC, just one that Caine lets wander around. But if that's the case, then why did Gummy Goo have to die? Why did he have to perish? There's something important about this Bubble, I swear. I'm calling it now, so if it happens to be something important in the future, you know that I said it. Yeah, so this was supposed to be a short video talking about the newest episode of the Amazing Digital Circus and how I liked it because I thought it was really cool and scary, but it kind of just expanded into me ranting about the entire show and its characters. So sorry about that, y'all. Okay. But yeah, I really do love the Amazing Digital Circus and just the show in general. You can tell a lot of thought and care was put behind it all, and just so much passion was put in. And even though we haven't seen much from some characters, that's what future episodes are for. And I can't wait to rant about those in the future. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments. I just love reading all those comments, and it always makes my day. And if you hated the video, also let me know in the comments, because I really need that to balance me out and keep me humble. Thank you for 1,000 subscribers once again. I'm really grateful, and I hope I can keep creating content that somehow justifies that number. Have an amazing day. Bye.